Hey, bring your
We're-
partner round and round at the square dance.
Yeehaw! We live.
Woo!
Boom, 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 boom. Welcome, everybody.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show. Bro, this is going to be just you and me today.
Let's
All
go.
right. We're going to
Zembruski
be
brothers.
focused, and we are we don't really have we never are scripted here, but welcome everybody, our millions and billions of fans out there in the world. If you are watching on LinkedIn Live, please make a comment. We will see it. There's about 4 billion people that have my cell phone number, so you can text me if you have something. We're also live on YouTube and Facebook channels, and from Hospiamo to Hospitality Industry Impact Initiative, and
We're everywhere, bro. We're
and
everywhere.
and many more. Yeah. So the title of today's show is Hotel Winter, bro. And you and I grew up in a very positive mental attitude. You know, you can bust through anything with a good positive attitude. Nothing's impossible, and that's good. But there is one thing that we learned early in a lot of our trainings and stuff like that we've been through, and I'll never forget it. And it's accentuate the positive, but acknowledge the negative.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, and when I was writing this, we've got a community in an online school now that's called Hospitality Super Bloom. Come see it on school.com.
SKOOL.
SKOOL, yeah. You can find it, and it's free right now, but it's not always going to be free. But we got a nice community in there. And I was writing a class, a few weeks ago, and I put up a bunch of really fun, classes, and really it is about simplifying the industry, but really simplifying in a way, meaning the hotel industry, in a way that is a blanket for all industries. So if anybody wants to be an entrepreneur, you come on here. And what I do is I use a hotel industry like an owner, from an ownership perspective, an investment perspective, an operating perspective, all the way from cleaning rooms, all the way up to bartending, to being a general manager, to being an owner of a hotel, right? So there are some students in there that are freshmen in high school, right?
Okay. Yep.
And so I was forcing myself to be they're like smarter than I am, but I know that I've got 30 years in the industry, so sometimes I can, just like many people in our industry, we do overcomplicate things. And so I created this Hotel Winter slideshow because it's from the perspective of what if one hotel was actually a lemonade stand.
Okay, cool. So simplify the message.
Simplify the message, and I'll just share. I'm not going to go through the whole thing right now, but it's you buy a thing for $100, and this is an operating business.
Just to interject, this is part of the training course that you put together for school.com, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Fantastic. Okay. Cool.
And I everything I do, I try to inject some humor, some sarcasm, and some satire. But in reality, this is accentuating the positive, which I call the beauty of the industry, with the acknowledging the negative, which is the risk in the industry.
Cool.
Okay. So you got a business here, and then it's just that what makes it different, that you don't eat it and you don't wear it. You just you buy it, and this is a lot of this is based on $100, and so it goes through the business. And so if you get $100, if a guest pays $100, this is where all the expenses go.
Cool.
And I'm going to refer to this because we're talking about pain points in this episode today. We're going to talk about the LinkedIn message that you and I sent out about our Agile Hospitality Transformation Program.
Yep.
Which is very audit and certification and building high functioning teams, right? For the future. And so a lot of it has to do with this $40 right here, which I'm going to get back to. And then I take it on through here. Here's the beauty of it. You can control many things. But what happens when you buy a hotel and you spend too much for it and you don't stabilize and you don't save enough money? And this is what's happening right now. Fixed costs, insurance, interest rates. These are fixed costs, taxes. They're going up and they're creeping into the operational expenses,
Got it.
which is why we are short 500,000 people in the hotel industry, even though revenues have gone up and also average wages have gone up and the total payroll is actually the same as it was, but we're doing it with a quarter less people. And when you start looking at these fixed costs rising up, just having done budgeting season for the past, 4 months, and now seeing the reality of January and February coming to become actual,
Yeah.
the industry, that's why I'm saying, acknowledging the negative, winter is coming.
Yeah.
And so you're either going to be prepared or not. And so we're going to talk about hotel management companies today. And that's what I call snow tires, right? Here's what general the message is right here. So okay, so snowflakes are the revenue that comes in, but what happens? Snowflakes melt on the ground, right? And that's the risk. You have to spend money. You have to hire people, and it's an up and down industry. Now, the being prepared and what I've been saying, and I've been getting a little bit more aggressive about this, bro. I'm gonna say that, but I've been getting a little bit more aggressive about this because the pain points that I've been pushing out there more publicly, there are a lot of pain points.
Yeah.
Okay. But you and I, and if we have enough time, I'll play it. I cut it up. It's about 7 or 8 minutes long. But when I was telling you about what my vision is for the capabilities of a hotel management company today, it's comparatively high to what's the current state. Okay. So I think that if, in order to be prepared, my bar and the question that I would say for any hotel owner to ask their management company right now, for the perspective, there's 60,000 hotels in the United States. About probably 30,000 of them are managed by independent hotel management companies that are not Marriott. They're franchisees. The owners are the franchisees, but I don't want to overcomplicate. So these independent hotel management companies are hired by the owners to manage the property, which means they employ the people at the property, right? So there's two major pain points for hotel management companies and owners. One is those fixed costs. Okay, there's not a lot of things that the owners can do to drop those costs of like interest rates. You just got to wait it out and be smart. And but a huge pain point is the fact that revenues are plateauing. Okay. Even in the last few months, we as in the industry said, hey, we're going to be at like 3% revenue growth this next year. It's not happening. Okay. So when you get fixed costs going up and you want to make, say, $20 on the 20 cents on the dollar for profit, that $20 is now becoming 15.
Yeah.
And it could get even lower.
Wow.
So being prepared as a management company is being able to spend, I think, thoughtful, strategic, critical time with your team to say, what specifically can we identify this year or maybe even the next 18 months in order to respond to what we know our owners are going to be asking us about 6 months from now.
Of course, because the owners that's their 5% that gets taken out. That's like a, right? I mean, they're sharing in the profit, obviously, as the owners, so they care when the profit gets squeezed because that's their money.
That's their money, and that's the money that they promise to their investors.
Yeah.
So everyone's got an owner. Even the owners have an owner, and that's the bank, right? Yeah. And so if you're planning on a hotel investment, and I'm going to share the screen that shows this. And you just like you buy anything, right? You want to buy a lemonade stand. You're going to buy it for $100, and you hope that it makes it gives you a little bit of return every day or every month or every year, so that you're not out $100. And then you hopefully maybe sell it 5, 7, 8, 10 years from then, or keep it forever. And it's just a good investment. So I'm going to share my screen real quick. I think this should be able to work. And I'll take you to a very elementary. You can see this, okay?
Yep, I can. Yeah, it's good.
All right, so this is just think about it. The industry, and I'm keeping it very simple. So before 2020, so before COVID, hotels were making $100, $100.
Yeah.
You got these are the number one expenses. You get employee wages and benefits. You're spending 25 on that.
Okay.
You're spending 30 on the controllables, which are your utilities, your operational costs, and other things, right? So administrative costs. And then you got the uncontrollables, which are mainly, I'm trying to stay away from saying fixed and variable, because even though something might be fixed, it's still variable based on the revenue that you bring in. So uncontrollable is that you're spending $25 on that. So total expenses is 80, and you got a profit of 20 cents on the dollar. Okay. That was before, and that's generally been the industry. Okay. That's been the expectation generally. Now, and when you change, I won't change that one yet. So now what's happening today over the past couple years, right? About 18 months, maybe even less than that, about a year. Okay. So revenues have gone up. So that's nice. Revenues are up to 115.
Yep.
That's good. I'll make it a little bit smaller. Okay. Employee wages went from 25 to 35.
Yep.
Controllables went from 30 to 40. And uncontrollables went from 25 to 35. Total expenses went from 80 to 110. And we are down to 5% profit now.
Wow.
Now, I know what everyone's saying. They're like, we're making more than 5% profit. This is a very broad example about what's happening with revenues and expenses building up.
It's not an exact example. It's more directional.
No, it's not. I'm not saying that the industry is doing 5% profit. I'm saying that this is a general story about what is happening. Things are expanding.
We're going from 20 to 5. We're moving in that direction, basically, is what you're saying.
Even though revenues have gone up. So if you see here, revenues went up 15, expenses went up 20.
Yeah. So
I'm sorry, 30.
So don't be blinded by, revenues went up 15%. We're doing better, because we're not.
That is absolutely true. And so we are also not, because what I said about the hours of the employees, where does that leave being able to even open up a new job for real and to add another employee when this revenue goes up? That's great. But what about when these go up faster than the revenues?
Faster than revenue.
And you're running a business for an owner, and they're saying, sorry, I need my 15 or 20.
Yeah.
So this is today. And this is what I call winter. This is coming tomorrow. Revenues, I'm being very generous by saying they're going from 115 to 120. I think revenues are generally going to be plateauing for a while.
Okay.
But I'm saying, okay, let's say it does go up.
Yeah.
Employee wages are not going to go up. They're just not. I've seen all the budgets. We need to add more people, but the amount of revenue is going to stay about the same. So, okay. Controllables are still going up, and that is your contract, your elevator contract, your landscaper contract, your a lot of contracts, all your SaaS systems.
Yeah, everything has a little chunk of the expenses. There's a lot of
those are going up. This is also inflationary, right? So these are inflated items that are your cost of goods, the cost of bacon, all that stuff.
Yeah, everything goes up with cost of goods, cost of living. But if your revenue is not going up, then what you're showing here is what happens. Yeah, and when these fixed costs, like your property insurance and your the interest rates, I mean, you can just look up the news. I mean, if you don't own a house, that's fine, but just you can see what's happening with the banks.
charging higher interest rates. So that's all getting up there. So now, from before revenues at 100, now it's at 120. That's great, hooray! But the expensive had gone from 80 to 120, and that's what winter looks like. A big goose egg.
And you know what? I want to make this real for people, whether you're in the industry or not. If you're a human and you have a job and you're making a salary, what I see, again, my eyes looking at this, I think about a lot of the people who you and I know right now, bro, who a lot of people, number one, are out of work right now, but a lot of people who are working, they're in situations like you've just described. You described the business side of it. If we ultra simplify it to just the personal side, imagine that you are working right now and you were just told that because of whatever factors, you're not getting a raise or a bonus this year. So your salary, like your revenue, but your salary, your income is staying flat. But what you're pointing out here, bro, is that it's not, doesn't mean that means that this year is going to be the same as last year, because guess what? Your cost of living went up 3% or 5% or whatever. You're buying bacon, you're buying this, your electricity, all your
Yep.
cost of living. So, that's from an empathy point of view, maybe for anybody listening to this, who may not be as aware of what you're showing from a hotel and hospitality business perspective, I think they can get it from a personal perspective, because we all know people. If you're lucky to have a job right now, that's great. But if your salary doesn't go up, at least with the cost of living, that means you're running into this situation. You're running into
your own expenses are going up. Yeah, you are your own business, whether you're making a salary or you're in your own business.
And that's painful. And that's very, people can feel that, right? They know what it's like because the expenses go up, and we've all seen it. We've seen it every day right now.
The other result is so think about it from a time perspective. So I'm out there looking for work. I've been open about that. I'm looking for either consulting jobs, or I'm looking for full-time jobs now. You know what I mean? Like and I've been looking a little bit too long. I'm getting a little bit nervous. I'm like, whoa. And so what I have been experiencing probably for the past 6 or 8 months, a lot of the people in my network, the people that I work with that are either out of a job or maybe they're looking for a different job because of that reason, they're trying to increase their income a little bit. The thing that has been happening, and I don't like it because I don't like it when people say that this is somebody complaining.
Yep.
The reality of it is that if you go onto hoteljobs.com, you go to hcareers.com, you go to ZipRecruiter, you go any Indeed, you are going to see about 1 million hotel jobs.
Yeah.
Okay. And you'll see hospitality jobs. You'll see general manager of a McDonald's. And so what does someone do that's qualified to apply, and they're very serious about working at a hotel or even a hotel company or advisory, whatever? You go there, you study. You're like, yeah, I want to work for this company. You nail an interview. They respond to you, and so it's 1 out of like 300 applications, right? They respond.
You're already lucky if you're getting the interview. Yep.
You're already lucky. And then you get the interview and you prepare, you study, you have the interview, and you're like, that was awesome. You're like, we're going to get back to you. And then it might be crickets, but it's for a little while. Sometimes they get back, sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get a second interview, sometimes you get a third. And then what is happening here? And I am not complaining. I'm telling you the absolute fact. The response 90% of the times has been, and I speak for not only myself, I speak for about 100 other people that I've been talking to for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
We're just, we decided not to fill the position.
Yeah.
You're highly qualified, or we actually decided to promote somebody from within.
Yeah, exactly.
Good for them. Good for all that. But I just spent 2 or 3 months looking, nailing this interview, and it is becoming a massive problem for personal income potential for people out there. This is just business in general. And so when I say winter is coming, there is something that that hotel management companies can do, and that is my bar. So I told you the story about the the former NBA franchise owner out of Denver. She owns and she and her family own 24 hotels. Her hotels are in Montana, Wyoming, Utah, and Colorado. And she's had these hotels in her family for 15, 20 years. And she's had 3 or 4 different management companies. And she's owned an NBA franchise. She knows what bench strength is, and she knows what the challenges when there's even the smallest bit of turnover. Yeah. And she is about ready to just sell all of her hotels until this can get fixed. And so she put out an RFP globally to be like, I need a management company, one management company instead of 3 or 4 to take over my hotels, because this is becoming a big problem.
Yeah.
And the story goes, there's a hotel management company that has 40 or 50 hotels in the southeastern United States, none west of the Mississippi. And she, the hotel owner, puts out the RFP, and she gets the biggest, the best, and the brightest, the most, the trustworthy, good companies. Like these are solid companies that come, and they're responding to the RFP. And she invited them. So she's got 5 very institutional, highly qualified hotel companies with hotels in her markets.
Right.
The Southeastern company, the president's name is Bill. Okay. So Bill responds to the RFP and is rejected. And it was the reason that her advisors say, well, you have no hotels even west of the Mississippi. She's already dealing with the issue of not having stability. And you're saying that you could possibly give her stability without having any no employment base or nothing here.
Right.
So Bill's company has already gone through this past year the Agile Hospitality transformation program.
Yep.
They went through the free audit. They went through the 30-day audit. They went through the 6-month program. And Bill says, that's okay. Let me get back to you in 3 hours. He calls one of his regional directors of op, said, we got an opportunity. I need you to put the team together. I need about 25 people. Can you do it? Sure. He responds back in a half hour. Here are the names. What do you need? They put together the team. He responds and says, we're coming to Denver. And by the way, the RFP, the pitch meeting for taking over these hotels is 10 days.
From now. Yeah.
Yeah. He says, we're going to Denver with these 25 people, and we are going to disperse, and we're going to do a market analysis, and we're going to visit all these markets in all these 4 states, and we're going to spend 7 days studying, and we're going to give this owner a gift to say, this is everything that we found out about your hotels and your markets. You can have it, and all we want is 15 minutes of your time to say, this is why we want to take over your hotels.
Mm.
And that happens. They spend 7 days, and they're the last to come in after seeing 5 of the best, largest hotel management companies out there. And they bring the other companies brought in like their executives with their big resumes and their big hotels and great history and trust and integrity in the industry. And then they come in with 25 people. And Jenny, the general manager at one of their properties, gives the gift and say, we've been here for 7 days, and this is the study that we did. We just want you to have it, and let us tell you a little bit about our company. And the owner's like, who are you all? Like, what do you mean? Like, you all came here? Like,
yeah,
we are what you would call the starting team. We got 20 of us here. We're assistant general managers. We're directors of sales and marketing. We're housekeeping directors. We're general managers.
Wow.
And we've been here for 7 days, and our phones have been off the entire time. Mm-hmm. Who's running all your properties? Our bench team is, and everything's great. Everything's wonderful. We haven't heard from them. Our owners are happy, and we're here because we want to show you what we're capable of doing. And we've been here for 7 days, and this is the study. So have this. And she goes, wait, that's enough. I've heard enough. I'm signing. I don't care.
That's
let's
enough.
sign, let's give you the deal. And then boom, that Southeastern company just expanded over the Mississippi River. And what's next? They can grow to Paris. They can grow internationally.
Yep.
That's the bar, bro. When I talk about pain points, this is the vision. This is the dream. It is it is very possible. Now, there are companies that are wonderful, that are doing this very well, and they're capable and they're prepared. I'm not saying that everyone's not prepared, and I'm not even saying anything negative about the industry or the people that are running these hotels.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm saying is that time and some money to spend on studying every bit of your operation, and you're going to need to find things, like I said, that your owners are going to be asking you for.
Yeah.
And the days of reasons, everyone knows what the reasons are.
Yeah.
They're gone. Yeah. Of course there's reasons. We're talking about them now, and that's a big reason why I am being vocal about this, because I care deeply about everyone that works in the industry. But also, I will not sleep for months if I ever think about saying I told you so, or I didn't tell you, or I had the chance to say something publicly. Yeah. Because we're talking about millions of people, that could possibly be affected by this hotel winter. And I do understand that in a little bit of a way, it's me saying the sky is falling and it's very negative, but I will tell you that as to come full circle, as brothers, and being very positive and very optimistic, we've been doing this podcast now for 43 weeks. Yeah. And we're very positive. This is the place to come in and express your voice. Very optimistic, very encouraging, and that's good and beautiful, but I don't want it to be sugarcoating anything.
Yeah, exactly.
And I started to feel like a little bit of sugarcoating, and I was like, you know what? Let's talk about the realness of it. And the school community has kind of taught me to be like, you know what? Let me just give a reality of this. Now, on the positive side, I truly think that this creates opportunity. It really does. It creates opportunity for critical thinking. Okay. I just made another post, and I want to get what your thoughts on, but the post was the SaaS revolution.
Yeah, that was a brilliant post, bro.
Did you read that? Okay, good. Yeah. So really, that well, if somebody misunderstands that, and somebody comments on it, be like, oh, you're anti-tech, you're but it's not the systems or technology, it's the automation of that has kind of removed the thinking, the strategic thinking, and the way that I and many of my contemporaries learned about, like, what does that number mean? Like, I get that, that my labor is up a little bit over last month, but can we sit down and talk about that rather than just being like, yeah, that was a crappy month and we got to do better next month, what's the automation of it. So, I don't know. I just shared a lot. So tell me what some of your thoughts are on that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So number one, what you were just sharing is it's really important to have your head in the clouds and optimistic about where we want to go, future, where we're heading, solution mindset, growth mindset. We're going to make it better. But to have your feet in the ground of today, like you started the podcast with, of, hey, it's a dark time right now, and it could be getting darker before it gets lighter. But we're not just going to sit here and complain. We're not just going to sit here and be victims. We're going to approach it with a growth mindset, a winner's mindset, and look for the opportunities, as you said, bro, to make this better. It just means that we have to get to the agile world, that agile word and world that I'm so passionate about, that I've lived and breathed in for the last several decades, is the ability to adapt to change. And the pace of change is ever increasing. And when we were kids, and even before we were born, change was happening, but it was taking a while. It was taking years and decades, right? To go from radio to TV to the internet, right? All these things took decades to happen. Change now is happening right, like super, super fast. And
scary how fast.
And COVID was a very big change shot to the arm for the entire world.
Mm.
And that was a big wake-up call to say, hey, if you are prepared for change and you know how to adapt yourself and your organization to change, then you can look for the opportunities within COVID to adapt and to grow, right? Maybe you take a hit, but then you get better. So my thoughts on what you just shared is okay, now that we've got the reality pill, winter's coming. I think a lot of people, like everybody knows somebody who's out of work right now. Everybody knows somebody who has had their salary frozen, no bonuses this year, right? We've all seen things on the personal level. You're pointing out the business side of this from a hotel hospitality industry perspective. And I think it's pretty easy to make that leap. Wow, if the people are experiencing this personally, it makes sense that the business model you just shared was like the lemonade stand and keeping things simple. It's the same thing. It's just the business side, and it affects a lot of people, and they sort of like support each other. So now we've been grounded in the winter, right? The challenge that we're at. So what do we do as proactive humans out there? What can we do to make the future better and to slow down this downward slide and to start to assist things? Because I've seen you, and I'll just make one more comment. Now I've seen you as we've grown up over the years and are in different industries and things like that. I've seen you and some of the other talented, you is the ones I've seen. We've talked about some of the other talented people on this podcast, but I've only seen you through my life. But I've seen you go to the most challenging situations in your career where there's a hotel who's just downsliding, they're going to lose their franchise flag. And you'd go in there and then you'd disappear for like 6 months. I wouldn't hear from you. And then all of a sudden, hey, that hotel is like the most improved hotel they've ever seen. Things are going great. All these things are happening. There's a lot of, and the magic happens in the middle of that 6 months. So let's talk a little bit about, and obviously those hotels were experiencing their own winters because of their own reasons. So let's bring it back to today. I've seen you from afar go in and do some work. I don't know what you did exactly because I wasn't there.
I will tell you, and I will tell you that is what we have created with our Agile Hospitality transformation program. And really, to boil it down, it's high functioning teams. You know, I've said to hotel owners that I'm trying to say, hey, I'd like to work with you. Oh, you're a hotel expert. I don't like saying I'm an expert at anything. Yeah, I know about hotels. I do. But really, what I have been able to do with the help of many others, right, is to build high functioning teams. And that's why you didn't hear from me for 3, 4, 6 months. Sometimes back when I was maybe I was working on an entire company to help them build a better foundation and a better infrastructure. Maybe it's just an accounting department. You know what I mean? Like but it takes time. And you have taught me about process, about structure, about consistency, about I would just tell you, from the example of hotels is we refer to SOPs or standard operating procedures as structural elements that drive our processes that we refer back to that hopefully are connected to the core values of the company, right? So, that's why I talk a lot about SOPs. Is that a lot of those SOPs are like photos on your phone or pictures on your phone. They sit there, you know, and you got them done. That's good. You had to do that. You got a company, you got a board of advisors or whatever, and they're as you got your SOPs. Yeah, but you know, when was, like you said, with change, bro?
Yeah.
It was fine in the first, 30 years of my life and career in hotels, or the first 25 years. But with everything changing, particularly a new generation of people speaking an entirely different language and wanting completely different things, very different things than what I and we wanted as Gen Xers or whatever you want to call us. You know, they want to work. So a lot of the stuff that we're hearing about is just absolutely not true, and it's not what I found. I think they want to work, but they want flexibility.
Yep.
And they are massively able to be easily inspired by flexible and what we're calling agile companies to work with.
Mm-hmm.
They do not want the rigid. And when they apply for a job and they say, yeah, it's 8 to 4, 8 to 4:30, whatever, you get a lunch for 30 minutes and did it, already out the door.
Yeah.
And the person that's trying to hire them is thinking, oh, they don't want to work. They're lazy.
Yeah.
It's completely not true. So our program that we have, developed and rolled out is the perfect combination of those two worlds about structure. And now me in my life, I'm not naturally structured. I work really well in a structured environment, but I do not like I like routine, but I don't need one.
Yeah.
I like structure, but I don't need one.
Yep.
I'm a little bit flighty. I like to kind of brainstorm, and you'll catch me daydreaming for an hour one day, and
Yep.
it just but the and so I could not have developed a thing, the certifications that we've written,
Yep.
the processes of building highly functioning teams in preparation for the winter of what we're calling it, right?
Yeah.
For these very large employment companies.
Yeah.
Very large. And I wouldn't have been able to create that structure without your help. And this podcast that we're on right now has been a massive help. But also, I invite anyone to go visit the Hospiama website. And so if you think here, so these are the pain points. And if you click through the pain points and you say, I want to learn more, you could schedule an interview with a certified Agile Hospitality coach that you certified me in becoming.
Yep.
And then after a year of that, I became a master hospitality, Agile coach for hospitality.
Mm-hmm.
And that had to do with like the challenges of like, you need to create a nonprofit for less than $500 and get it IRS approved, right? It's like, okay. You need to start a podcast. You need to write 12 blogs in the next 2 weeks about your company growth and all these different things. And so the pain points go over to the
we should put that URL up, bro, in the bottom of this. It's hospioma.com/agile, right? Is that correct?
I'm just you're teaching me well. You taught me well because I already did that.
I'm putting you on the spot.
Boom.
There we go. I knew it was there somewhere.
Boom.
You're a master of this streaming platform here. So
if you go here, I'm a master streamer on StreamYard.
Yeah.
I'm not a master at getting them to sponsor us. So come on, StreamYard. We've been using you for 43 episodes. So bring in your sponsorship if you'd like.
That's right.
Or even if you don't like. So we got the AHAB. And that is the Agile Hospitality Assessment Benchmarking. That's what we're calling kind of like the audit. Okay. So it's $120,000 worth of value. It's about $20,000.
At least 120.
And it's at least. It includes certifications. It includes a 10-week certification for 4 people that they handpick themselves. And so this lasts a lot longer than the audit. They get educational credits that onto the online school. We're going to do in. I'm glad that you mentioned that about the things that other companies have already done. So the construction industry is a really inspirational to me because, in particular, there's a company here in Charlotte and Atlanta called Choate. Look them up if you ever want anything built. Called Choate. What Choate did, they decided, like, I want to say it was about 4 or 5 years before COVID happened, they converted from a private company to an ESOP. That's an employee stock ownership plan.
Nice.
They're employee owned, just like Publix, right? So they are employee owned. And you want to know who didn't have too many problems with labor and construction costs after COVID that everyone else had problems with, or 98%?
During
Choate did not have. They had. I know this for a fact. They did not dip as much as everyone else did. They didn't lose people, and they have a. It's so much more than just treating people well.
Yeah.
They created structure, and they decided to do something about it, and that's what they chose to do. So, hi to all my Choate friends out there. I'll give you a shout. soon. So the
in there, I want to make just a quick comment on certifications, because that word's been used a lot in the agile tech industry, and even in government and a lot of things like that. And most certifications are open a book, read some stuff, memorize some stuff, take a test, and you're certified. This certification we're talking about here, which is in the rare, I would say 1% or less of certifications in the world today, especially related to Agile and hospitality, this is an experiential and educational.
And also the what I like that you use a lot is the accountability coaching.
Yes, it's accountability coaching, but it takes time. It's not just I memorized all this and used my computer to help me answer the questions, and now I paid the $1,000 and I got this certification. That's not what this is. This is real-time experiential with a certified agile professional, guiding you through a period of time and watching you and holding you accountable as you not only learn but practice what you're learning. And you iterate through that process over a period of time. And then at the end of it all, you're certified. At the end of the 10 weeks, you're not getting certified on day one just because you're smart and you can take good tests. That's a piece of it, right? But I just wanted to point that out. This is experiential. As you're saying, you're being held accountable to practice what you learn and to adapt based on what's working and not working based on what you're practicing. So it's a very practical and valuable certification over the.
I highlighted here on the site, and this is Hospiamo / certified 2. So I'll add another banner in here again real quick. So there you go, certified 2. So this is the week number 2 that you put me through. Okay, so every week had a book that you were nice that you didn't say I had to read the whole thing, but I got the gist of these books. And so the week 2 book was Moneyball. So I had already read the book, but I watched the movie again. And so that was the financial agility week, where the task was to streamline the P&L analysis process. In our industry, we just call it P&L review. And it's somewhat clunky sometimes. And so you said you got to create a new benchmarking tool. So I did. And I've talked about that on this podcast. I've redeveloped it, and it's a new benchmarking tool for the hotel industry that benchmarks your performance in a very unique way. And so this is that week 2. So week 2 took me through the cost review and optimization project option. So you gave me an option, and it was very collaborative, where you weren't saying that, oh, this is what you got to do. It was like, think about something that you haven't done before. Think about something that you think that would be very useful to your industry, and something that either exists in a small way or just doesn't exist at all. And so this is the process that happened over that week 2. And so this is what I want to make sure that anyone looking at this looks like a lot of writing, and it looks like a lot of time, and like, oh, I don't have time to do that. Just it was 1 hour a week. You and me on a Zoom together, talking about this is, if it was the first week, you're saying this is what you're going to do this week. You're going to look at this book. You don't have to read the whole thing, just get the gist. And then it was forced collaboration, right? I could not do any of this alone. I had to reach out to people. And so I reached out to people that I work with, or maybe not work with. I'm not, employed during this time, but I was really careful about the amount of time that I was spending doing this, imagining that I was like a general manager at a hotel, or like a regional director, or a VP of ops, or even like a VP of sales and marketing, or an accounting director, a housekeeping director, and say, all right, yeah, I can do this for an hour a week. I can, sit down for a lunch and do a Zoom. And then you had office hours for like 2 hours on every Friday or whatever it was, where you actually invited other people. And now there wasn't anyone else going through this exact certification, but this is very possible to do this with, like, the audit includes 4 certifications, right? You'd be like, all right, we're going to do this at 11 o'clock every Tuesday, and you're going to, this is your company, right? So the company, those 4 individuals are going to spend an hour together.
Yep.
Right. So it's not like 4 different hours at 4 different times.
Yep.
And there's going to be a project and a task and an agile methodology driven process that they learn.
Yep.
And in this example, it was solving, this is very pain point focused. And so in this example, a hotel management company might say, we want 4 regional directors that have like 10 hotels each. So there's 40 hotels, and we want them to be the our agile coach.
Yes.
Okay, good. They're going to come in there and they're going to spend an hour, and they're going to have office hours, and they're going to be given a task to do. And because the hotel company has decided to do this and decided to pay for it, they're going to be allowed the time, which is not a lot, a couple few extra hours a week, right, to learn these processes and why it's making this company agile, but not to overuse that word, adaptive to change, like you said, because change is coming, man, and it already has happened. And if we learned anything from COVID, nobody was ready for that.
Yeah.
Choate was. They didn't even know COVID was coming, but they were ready. And a lot of the you in software tech, a lot of companies that have gone through the agile transformation, it doesn't even need to be tech, right? It could be just a business in general. Then they were more ready than other people, right?
Exactly.
Because they were ready for change, the change management. And so that's how I kind of saw this happening as I was going through it. And then after the 10 weeks,
I'll put in before you go to that piece, bro. I just want to point out that it's like you're saying, it's only a couple hours a week with the learning, with the interaction, with the support that they need really hands-on. The rest of the time they are doing their job, but they're doing it now from a new
they're applying
it. And now they're we call it iterating in the agile space, right? So now you're iterating quickly. You have these fast feedback cycles of, hey, I just did this for my improvement project that I'm working on as part of this 10-week program. I just did this. Okay, what happened this week, right? Don't wait till the end of 10 weeks and then tell us what happened to adapt and adjust. What happened this week? What worked? What didn't work with your plan this week? Okay, now we're going to adjust. And the next week we go in and we do the next piece of the program. But you're constantly practicing what you preach, practicing what you learn. And that gives you the ability to get value. My point in saying this is that it gives the company and the individuals the ability to get value from this on day 1 and day 2 and day 3. You don't have to wait for the 10-week certification. You don't have to wait for it to realize everything.
Huge.
Every day you are getting value and you're seeing value with the transparency of the tools and processes that we put in place. So you're seeing it from day 1. You don't have to wait.
And that's why we can guarantee cost savings.
Exactly.
Right. So with this audit, with the transformation program, and I'm saying this publicly, we guarantee a certain amount of cost savings that you can say as a hotel management company, this is what we're doing, Mr. and Mrs. Owner. From day 1, we're going to start identifying things because we're spending time on how to do this. A great example is efficient contract management.
Yes.
Okay. So one of these weeks is to have your RDO or whomever to say, all right, this is the, we're going to relook with your team, with other people, your general managers. You're going to pick out your top, contracts. Maybe it's a business intelligence system. Maybe it's an employee scheduling program. Maybe it's your landscaping contracts. Maybe it's your energy bills. Maybe it's your water bills. We're going to spend a little bit of time and stare at these things and look for ways of an opportunity. We're going to learn, and ideas are going to come. You're going to write down those ideas, and we're going to say, hey, Mr. Management Company, Mrs. Management Company, this is what we recommend doing. And that's what, okay, good. Now let's do it. And the process is created, and you say the iteration, you're applying your learning immediately from day 1. And that's why we're able to guarantee cost savings. And that's why we got to do this now, as in the industry, because the winter's coming, right? You saw those other costs, and that's
so you want to get a jump on this now. Anybody who's
you want to get a jump on it, and I'm very careful, bro. 5 years ago, I probably sounded negative on management and the industry, because I had been part of it, and I may have sounded negative, but and I'm very careful not to be negative and not to say that there are things that are being neglected. If I say that something's being wasteful as far as somebody's time, or a wasteful project, it just means that it's not that somebody's neglecting it. It just means that you got to spend some time on looking at it, and then making a decision to see if it can improve. And maybe it can't. You just move it off to the next one and go move on to the next one.
Yeah.
But this is it's all connected to this critical thinking and creative solutions. And if we don't spend time doing that together, not even like with an agile coach, but like as a company,
yes,
I don't think it's possible to have a highly functioning team, where to get to Bill's, the president of Bill's company, where he was able to say, like, we need 25 people to deploy to Denver. We got to work on a project together. And you just know for a fact that there is nothing else that's worrying you, because you got your bench. Yep. And that is the result of what can happen with this. It's what will happen. I've done it at one hotel. I've done it at multiple hotels.
Yep.
And I did it with direct conversation. And it's not because I'm better or smarter than anybody. I was spending time doing it with other people. And we've had a lot of people on our podcast that are actually doing those things right now. It's just, they're doing it for companies that haven't really expanded their bandwidth, maybe, or they haven't decided that this is what we're going to have everybody do. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Such as like another vision is like daily stand-ups, as we call it. That was the first domain I ever bought, hotel stand-up. And I still have it, but it's nothing there. But it was based on this philosophy. This is almost 20 years ago now, when you were coaching me on like entrepreneurship and stuff. And I said, I think that every day, if you have a company with 40, 50 hotels, I don't know of any right now, and I know a lot of them, that can confidently say 9:30 every single day, every one of our hotels have a stand-up, and this is the agenda, and they send us their notes, and there's a whole process.
Yep.
That is not difficult to do, but you have to make a decision to do that. And this coaching program teaches your people to do it and to maintain it, right? And so I had this vision of these stand-ups being able to be streamed to other properties in their portfolio, so that they can learn and be a part of it too. Yeah,
exactly.
And stored and watched by other people that are, in the corporate side. And it really connects. That's just one thing out of 100 things that you can implement to create that, to connect the culture of what you want to have. If you're based in Atlanta and you got 40 hotels that are, on average 500 miles away.
Yep.
This is how you connect that culture, and this is how you create loyalty, and a bench, and to really inspire people to work for your company. Because I'll mention, I put up another poll, and I don't know what if anybody responded to it yet, but the question was, it was over the last 6 months or so, I was studying hotel general managers on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll take this down for a second. Stop sharing. Okay.
All right.
And I just had a hunch, and the hypothesis, and then it was proven. It was actually more than I thought. But hotel general managers, they work for a Courtyard by Marriott in Princeton, New Jersey, let's say, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're working for a brand. You're working for Courtyard by Marriott, and you go through all this training, and it's wonderful, right? That's the franchise. The owner is the franchisee. They pay the 10 cents on the dollar to be a franchise. They hire a third-party management company or an independent hotel management company. That's my employer.
Yep.
I don't work for Courtyard by Marriott.
I know. Most people think they do, but you're right.
They might think they do, but that's what they put on LinkedIn. I never did that, but they're putting out that, I'm Adam Zembruski. I'm the general manager of the Courtyard by Marriott in Princeton, New Jersey. I don't work for Courtyard by Marriott. I'm in Princeton, but I work for XYZ hotel company.
Right.
And so, and those XYZ hotel companies, they work hard they are the employer.
Yeah. They're the invisible behind the scenes.
Yeah. And there's no reason that they should be invisible. There's like I was so proud, and I'll name them all. Like you all know me. You can go on my LinkedIn. You can see who I've worked for. I've worked for some really good, great companies that I was amazed and super proud to work for. Right. And it wasn't because they were better than anyone else. It was cool. I'm like, Peachtree is a good example. I worked for Peachtree for a very short period, 8-9 years ago or something. But I was really proud because, none of the hotels had a Peachtree, brand on it.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I enjoyed it. And then the hotel general managers, we had a culture. Like it was something that we talked about. Like, what does it mean to work for Peachtree? Right.
Yeah.
And I'll give them a shout out. I think they're a great company. I really enjoyed my time there. Short as it was, but I really enjoyed it. And they got a nice brand going on. And but you'll never. I mean, maybe there's some Peachtree hotels out there, but it's not theirs. That's their company.
Yeah.
And that's the employer, bro. It is like, besides being like a dad and like a best friend and a brother and a family member, being an employer is a massive responsibility that I have the utmost respect for. So why not put that name on your LinkedIn and on your resume and be, regardless of if you're going to stay or go or whatever, slap it on there, because that is their brand.
Yeah.
But it's something in our industry that's just weird. It's like, I know there's reasons, but I just would love to see some sort of revolution where people are like really promoting these independent hotel management companies that they work for, and they're take pride in it. I work with several of them, and I'm so proud that I get to talk with them. Granted, I do have empathy that other people might not have, having worked at the property level for so long in my career, but it's just awesome. I understand the work that goes into that, like all the background stuff of a human resources department and the writing of those SOPs. There's not a lot of things that are easy, and that's why I'm so inspired and so appreciative of you and Dave Chan. Shout out to Dave. You're Chief Operating Officer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're going to record something next week or later on this week together, and then you have a your tech agile talent acquisition community that you're a part of, and over the last year or so, it's been so cool to interact with them, right? Like I'll make a post about hotels, and there's a software developer in South Florida that happens to know you, and they like my stuff.
Yeah.
These are very different worlds, and I'm so inspired and so thankful. And I don't find anyone else spending as much time as you and I are that are putting these two worlds together.
Yep.
And I believe in it so much, and I'm really excited about it. And we can have a whole nother full 2-hour episode, and I'll just spew how excited I am about it. But this is actually something now that we have that we can put out to the world. And so please visit the website here. Go visit my bro at matt@agilegamechangers.com. Visit me at who am I? What is my name? Adam at hospiamo.com. Hospiamo.com, and then visit our the Agile Transformation Program. There's a lot of different ways to learn more about that. again, you probably have my cell phone number. I'm not quiet about that. So you can contact me, email me, reach out to my bro or me, and you'll see us with Dave Chan with Agile Game Changers, hopefully someday soon, and some other people that are kind of joined in this packaging of multi-industrial benefits for what I find to be the most influential to global culture industry in the world, and that is hotels.
Yeah.
It brings people in, you stay there for 2-3 days, you interact with other people that might not even speak your same language. They don't look like you, they don't act like you. They have jobs. Their job is to serve you and keep you safe. And then you leave and go back home and you tell your friends and family about, like, yeah, it was kind of nice. Like, I met some nice people over there. I didn't know that people in blah 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 city or even blah 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 country were as nice as they were. That was the vision from Conrad Hilton, by the way. He said it's about world peace. Did you know that?
That's nice. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
When he put his, I think he's got an interview out there in the 50s, and it's really cool. He's getting interviewed. I think it was Prague, maybe Turkey. He was putting one of the first international hotels in Prague or Turkey, a big Hilton hotel out there. And he's getting interviewed, and he just said, matter of fact, he goes, "Why are you doing this?" He's like, "It's world peace."
Yeah.
Like, this is like you know, people can walk in here and be like, "Wow, that was a really nice experience," and or maybe it wasn't a great experience, but they had an experience with people that are from different cultures, and you just I think it's a beautiful thing. And so I do get pretty broad and like up there in the clouds that you say I do sometimes, and I really do see that vision happening as being possible, and I just love it, and I don't like doing anything alone. So the fact that you and your community's helping out, and you know, you have a gateway, you and your team has a gateway to the $650 billion hotel industry.
Yeah, it's amazing. And your network is significant. My network is significant.
Yeah.
Two worlds coming together, and there's a lot of strategic partners that we've already lined up here, bro, for this. So it's not just two brothers. It's not just two brothers and two different companies coming together. There's a lot of people, a lot of companies who are already behind this. So I'm really, really excited to spread the word on this, get this out there in a bigger way.
Imagine having a regional director of operations that fully understands employee tax credits.
Yeah.
Okay. And has somebody to call because they learned how to do all that. And they spend a little bit of time every week looking for credits that they can get for the ownership group before they start asking for it.
Yeah. It's free money.
Look what we did. Yeah. And, or, you know, tax rebates or whatever, you know, and
these are all part of our partner network. Exactly.
It's all part of it. And it's all part of this. Maybe we don't even call it a certification anymore, but it's part of this program where they learn and they iterate, right? That's a new word for me. Then, and the constant feedback loops and the learning to be like, yeah, this is what we're doing. We're going through this transformation.
Exactly.
And I really do see that the Denver hotel lady, that the former NBA franchisee, that story is very possible for every hotel company in the United States, at least, and then to grow globally and to it'd be wonderful to whether we're a part of it or not, just to see that happen.
Yeah,
you know, and I think it's very possible.
It is. That's great, bro. All
right. So you probably got to get going. Let's go make our own money. Let's try to keep some money flow so we can keep doing what we do.
That's right. Do what we do. Changing the world, bringing peace to the world. World peace. Conrad Hilton.
Who's going to argue with that?
Nobody is.
Who's going to argue with world peace, man? You know what? I'm open to the debate. I have opinions, by the way, and I always say this. Come on here and let's talk about it. If you disagree with my numbers, if you disagree with what we're doing, come on, let's talk about it. This is what this is all about. And just send me a message and be like, you're crazy. No problem. I am a little bit, and I am a little bit unreasonable in my expectations, but I really think that with the right people surrounding this and us, nothing's impossible.
Nope. It's great, bro. It's awesome. So go to hospiamo.com/agile and learn more now.
All right. Let's go get it, man. All right. Thanks, everybody. Love you all, and this will be on a loop on our many multiple streams. And that's my bro. That's me. We'll see you all next week.
Right. See you next week. Love you, bro. See ya.
Love you.